Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the HQ Show. I'm your host, Haroon Raja, and today we'll be discussing the recent Wirecard debacle and its impact on the financial industry, especially the freelancers who've been depending on Payoneer as one of their primary payment withdrawal methods from different freelancing services as well as direct client billing. And since if you're in the industry, you may be aware that Payoneer was using Wirecard's services for its MasterCard, which was widely used by its freelancers for holding USD and having the ability to withdraw it anywhere using its MasterCard. So when the whole debacle happened, there was a state of panic among freelancers who had funds coming into their Payoneer account from all the freelancing services, freelancing platforms, sorry. And everyone was pretty much saying, like, there were so many people expressing their opinions, like it's a scam, and it was they could see it coming from a mile away. They've always been recommending others not to trust these online money services. So like the rumors were pretty much spreading like wildfire, and there were far too few people who were actually analyzing the situation properly rather than just scaremongering and considering how financial institutions are regulated by different government organizations who are there to ensure protection of consumer funds, and how the contracts between and the partnerships between multiple organizations and the relationship between a parent organization and its subsidiary in another country with the international regulation frameworks, cross-border regulation frameworks coming in, how these things work. So things aren't as simple as they appear. Fortunately, the debacle has been pretty much resolved from Payoneer's end, and as the responsible regulator has finally released access to the funds that were frozen, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware that you can now withdraw your funds. So let's reflect at what happened, what conspired, how things got to the stage where it caused that huge amount of panic among everyone, and what has been done to ensure that something like this in the future is contained before things go south. So for this today, I have with me Payoneer's country manager for Pakistan, Mah-sin Muzaffar, and I'd like to first and foremost thank him for joining us. Assalamu alaikum, Mah-sin. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, Haroon. How are you? I'm good. Thank you very much. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to be here. And you just told me that it's your first episode, and it feels special to be here on your first episode. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Right. So, I mean, before going into the details of technical details of what happened, how we recovered, and what we can do to sort of avoid this happening in future, I'd like to say a couple of things, and I'd like to say in the full faith and full honesty. The first thing is, I think it wasn't easy for our customers, right? Our customers were dependent on Payoneer. They're depending, उनकी family, उनका business, उनकी हर चीज़ जो depend कर रही है Payoneer के ऊपर, और Payoneer से जो funds withdraw करते हैं उसके ऊपर, it wasn't easy for them, and we are truly sorry that they had to go through this. But I think I'd like to thank all Payoneer customers, the way they stood by us, the way they responded to this हम इसको mini pandemic कह सकते हैं, this unfortunate incident, जिस तरह से उन्होंने respond किया, they stood by us. I think this was really special. And from our point of view, I think एक चीज़ होती है कि कोई भी इंसान हो, कोई भी इंडिविजुअल हो या कोई भी कंपनी हो, वो क्राइसिस से तो नहीं पहचाना जाता. क्राइसिस, प्रॉब्लम्स, ये कंपनीज में, इंडिविजुअल्स में ये आते रहते हैं, और इसमें rather than saying how good a company is or how bad a company or how good a person or a bad a person is, I think it's sometimes how lucky or unlucky that person or a company was. How that individual and a company is measured is how they responded to that crisis. And I can very proudly say, and जिस तरह से हमारी टीम ने Payoneer as a company, how we responded, we are very proud of our customers. We're very proud of how we handled the situation. Now, when this happened, we had two choices. Either we can put our phones on silent or turn our phones off and hide somewhere, because we knew that this is gonna be solved in like 2-3 days, 4 days, max a week. This will be solved. We had that assurity. We knew that. So we had two choices. One was to just under the blanket for a week, let this issue resolve, and then be on the camera like a hero and say, look, we solved it. And the second option the second choice rather we had was to make ourselves more available. Be there for our customers, be there for any questions, any hard questions. Yes, we won't have answers to all the questions. Yes, we will face some trolls. We would face some angry customers, and I don't blame them. They had every right to be angry, right? And I think consciously at a company level, we made the second choice, which wasn't easy, but it was the right choice. That let's make ourselves available. Our whole team, and I'm not just talking about the team in Pakistan, our global teams, they were available more than ever. हम लोग अगर मैं अपनी बात करूँ अपनी टीम की, तो हमें शायद आपने पिछले 3-4 दिन से पहले हमारे फेसबुक लाइव्स पर आते थे, फ्राइडे गपशप पे हमारे वेबिनार्स होते थे. बट अगर मैं अपनी पर्सनली बात करूँ तो आई एम नॉट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ पर्सन कि जो मल्टीपल टाइम्स इंटरव्यू दे और करे, लेकिन पिछले 2 दिन के अंदर आई थिंक दिस इज माई 4th फेसबुक लाइव सेशन. So this was the conscious effort we made at a company level, that we will be available, we will be there, so our customers can be reassured that yes, this is a crisis. Yes, the things, as you've mentioned, have gone south, but we are still there and we are trying our level best to solve it. Now, ये तो थोड़ा सा एक इमोशनल बैकग्राउंड था जो हुआ और वो किस तरह से सॉल्व हुआ. Now, what actually happened was Payoneer as a company, we have different products. We have our balance, which we call Payoneer account. We have this ATM debit card, मास्टर का जो कार्ड है, जो हमारे ये मास्टर का ATM debit card है, this is issued by Wirecard Solutions Limited, that is housed in the UK, right? Wirecard AG जो जर्मनी में है, they filed for the insolvency back on 25th of June, exactly 6 days ago, or there were rising concerns about their other subsidiaries. We were monitoring very closely Wirecard Solutions Limited as well, and we were given reassurances that there's everything okay with Wirecard Solutions Limited in the UK. But somehow FCA decided, with the sole purpose to protect customers' fund, to put a temporary freeze on Wirecard Solutions Limited in the UK. FCA ने जब वो temporary freeze किया, they were very clear and they were communicating with us that this is a temporary freeze and the sole purpose of doing that is to protect customers' fund, because things are happening in an unpleasant way with the Wirecard AG. So we want to make sure कि ये subsidiary से कुछ पैसे move करने ना शुरू कर दें. We want to protect customers' fund. So they were very clear. We were very clear on what's happening. हमारा जो concern था वो 2 concerns थे. सबसे बड़ा concern था कि this should not go forever, and when I say forever I mean weeks.
Absolutely.
If for let's say over a week, you see our customers, we are very emotional for our customers, Harun, right? जब वो अपने funds नहीं निकलवा सकेंगे, उनके businesses का क्या होगा, उनकी families का क्या होगा, उन्होंने
Exactly.
उनका क्या होगा, right? So this was our biggest concern. Okay, you are assuring us we'll get it solved, but let's please solve it ASAP, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this was our biggest concern, and we did all in our capacity to coordinate with FCA, with Wirecard, and with all the relevant authorities to make sure that this episode is over as soon as possible. I'm truly sorry that it still took 3 days. It should have been done before, but I think second जो हमारा इसके अंदर था वो ये कि funds जो हैं वो completely available हो हमारे users के लिए. अब इसमें एक चीज़ और मैं मेंशन करना चाहूँगा कि Wirecard जो अपनी फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज है वो मल्टीपल कंपनीज को ऑफर करती है. जैसे Payoneer उनके कार्ड यूज़ करता है, इस तरह there are other financial institutions were using Wirecard services, and unfortunately ये जब एक incident हुआ, जब उनके funds freeze हो गए and they were stopped being carrying out any regulated activities, तो उसके अंदर unfortunately वो सारी companies उसके effect में आई. So it wasn't just Payoneer, it was some other companies as well who had to go through this hard time. Now, in terms of the fund security, we were given multiple reassurances that the funds are properly safeguarded. So we were going on social media, we were talking to our customers and assuring and reassuring them that your funds are safe and this episode will be over as soon as possible. But we could feel that still there was some, there was an uncomfortable feeling in our users. Okay, yes, you are saying this to us, but what if? That was the biggest question. What if? So our CEO, Scott, he recorded a video and day before yesterday, and in very clear terms, he stated what he stated. That video is on record. Our official statement is on record. So I think that was a moment that again reassured our customers that now we could put our minds at ease. So this was a whole episode. This was a whole episode as it turned, and as of 30th June, 12 midnight, London time, the freeze was lifted. Wirecard Solutions Limited rather was allowed to carry out all the regulated activities, which means that the funds are unfrozen and available on customers' cards. Now, after that, I understand that there were some technical issues because वो traffic एकदम बहुत ज़्यादा आ जाती है और सब जो है उसको withdraw करने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं, लेकिन I think that was Mastercard के end से कुछ technical issue था, उसको उन्होंने resolve किया. हमारे एंड से जो टेक्निकल इशू था एटीएम विड्रॉल पे वो भी काफ़ी हद तक रिजॉल्व हो चुका है. सो दिस इज द सिचुएशन वी आर इन राइट नाउ, एंड अगेन at the end of this long statement, I'd like to thank all my customers, all the industry influencers, including yourself, Arun. I know you've been very humble, you didn't give yourself a credit, but please allow me that I saw one of your posts which was very sane, I'd say. And posts like this, comments like this, वो हमारे अंदर एक एनर्जी भी पैदा होती है कि यार we are doing what we are doing and we are not alone. So thank you for all those customers, all those individuals who supported us through this time. It wasn't our fault, but our customers were suffering, so we felt the heat.
Absolutely, and that was one of the primary reasons behind me posting that, because I saw so many people sort of gaslighting Payoneer here as a scam, as if Payoneer even had like any part in the whole Wirecard AG fiasco, when Wirecard AG wasn't even the primary entity with which Payoneer was holding its funds. Although it's true that Wirecard UK, not Wirecard UK, its name is I think Wirecard Card Solutions. Something limited. Limited. So that was their Wirecard AG's UK subsidiary. But when you have a different subsidiary operating in a different country, it does come under the full scope of that country's regulators. And it's not like the parent company has absolutely free will to do whatever they want with the assets of all of their subsidiaries in different countries. For instance, let's say an FMCG, a global FMCG that has a major Pakistani subsidiary, their Pakistani subsidiary would be subjected to all of the laws of Pakistan. And in case the global one has some financial crisis or debacle, SCB wouldn't exactly let their Pakistani entity send out all of their local funds and in a way that they can't meet their local liabilities. Because for any business operating in a country, for that country's regulators, their local liabilities to their account holders in that country, in the banks of that country, or businesses with entities incorporated in that country, come far above any of their international liabilities that their subsidiaries or their parent companies or their sister concerns or joint ventures in other countries may have. So yes, I was pretty confident that these two entities would be considered in seclusion, but at the same time, the step taken by the UK regulators was only natural. because without any such restrictions, who knows, Wirecard AG may have tried to maybe overnight through some banking channel wire their funds from the UK into their company's parent account in Germany before the regulators had the chance to block such access. And in that case, yes, things would have taken a far more sour turn. But fortunately, thanks to the regulators for freezing the funds in a timely manner to protect these account holders. So what a lot of people were basically complaining about, that the funds are frozen and they can't access them, was actually for their protection. Which is because of the complications of financial systems and how things work there. Things aren't as transparent to the layman as they perhaps should be, and not everyone has financial education background, so that also makes things worse in this regard. So yes, it was absolutely necessary to do that. And on this note, I know that you may not be in a position to offer an official response on this because of the legal ramifications involved. But since it has been brought up so many times, today's discussion wouldn't be complete without bringing that up. So I wouldn't expect an official or even an unofficial response from you as the country manager rather than as a legal representative of Payoneer. But I'd just like to bring that up so that it would perhaps be food for thought for you. And I'm sure it has already been brought up to you by others. But since while we're on the subject, so that it could be brought up with you and your team on helping you with the way forward to avoid any situation that could sort of have a worse impact than this one did. Fortunately, in this situation, the disaster was averted. So I'd like to point to the terms and conditions on a couple of different resources on Payoneer's website. Firstly, so when I heard about the situation, I basically Googled Payoneer insurance to see what sort of protection were Payoneer's customers provided in such a situation. And on the support page, the first search result that came up when I searched for those keywords was this Payoneer support page. And let me just zoom in on my local end so that I can actually read the full text. We strictly adhere to a comprehensive set of global payment regulations in order to ensure financial security of both Payoneer and our account holders, and have partnerships with banking partners and members of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So when I posted that status after reading this was sort of giving me the impression that the funds were with an FDIC insured legal financial entity. But as others pointed out later to me, that was not the case. That was the case with Payoneer's other accounts, but not the case with funds that were held with the Wirecard's MasterCard accounts. And the other resource that was pointed out to me was this Payoneer's terms and conditions, some terms and conditions page, where regarding funds protection, it says the prepaid MasterCard is an e-money product, and although it's a product regulated by the FCA, it's not covered by FCSC. No other compensation scheme exists. FCSC is the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. No other scheme exists to cover the losses claimed in connection with the prepaid MasterCard. This means that in the event that Wirecard Solutions Limited becomes insolvent, this was the biggest cause of concern that was making so many people uneasy. This means that in the event that Wirecard Solutions Limited becomes insolvent, your funds may become valueless or unusable, and as a result, you may lose your money. And I'm sure this language is here to protect against the absolute worst case scenario rather than expect it to be the norm, because it would go against Payoneer's interests to just claim that, oh, if Wirecard goes insolvent, you lose your money, there's nothing we can do about it. As Payoneer has proven in this case, despite this being in the clause, they went above and beyond to try to make sure that funds were safe. But there would be people who would get concerned about such terms. So going forward, and I'm not going to ask you for a response on this because, as I said earlier, this would be for your legal team. So maybe you can take it as something to discuss with your legal team. And I'm sure they already have this on their agenda after this. So what my concern would be that going forward, learning from this entire situation, I think it would make a lot more sense for Payoneer to ensure that no matter whether it's an e-money account or a conventional bank account or a virtual bank account, there is some level of insurance for any user account that your users have with you, so that in case, maybe, who knows, because of the unpredictability of financial markets in a financial crisis situation that we're going through globally, and because of the COVID-19 situations, things may even go worse. So to protect your consumers, to protect your users, maybe this should be something to consider, that no matter what type of accounts you offer, there should be some level of insurance provided to your users, because God forbid if there's a situation where even Payoneer doesn't have enough liquid funds available to themselves compensate their customers in case of some major sort of situation, like similar to how it happened with Wirecard AG. Fortunately, it didn't happen with the Wirecard Card Services UK. So this is something to ponder and something for your legal team to maybe consider improving upon for future partnerships, when you renew your partnerships with providers, etc.
For sure. If I may add a few things to this, and you're right. I think we shouldn't be going into the deep discussion on the legal language, and I'll just try to make it simple for everyone to understand. One of the things to understand here is Payoneer is a highly regulated organization in multiple jurisdictions. So that is the first thing to understand. And the second thing is, whoever we partnered with, whether a bank, whether a financial institution, otherwise, we make sure that we are partnering with a regulated entity. Now, what that does is what you've seen in the previous episode with the Wirecard Solutions Limited, Wirecard Card Solutions Limited, that they were regulated and they had a regulator come in a difficult time, and they took the measures what were meant to be taken. So I think this is very important to understand, that we are highly regulated and we work only with the regulated entities. Now, there are multiple terms and conditions, and of course, the language used there is quite straightforward and simple for everyone to understand. But there are two things that we're doing going forward. The first thing is, and that we've been reassuring our customers in this episode as well, that all the funds held with Payoneer are safe and sound, and you don't have to worry about the funds stored in Payoneer. But as well as the funds, those are stored, there are जो Wirecard के साथ stored हुए हैं. There are certain protocols. Again, I really don't want to go into the details what those protocols are and how the safeguard उसको किया जाता है. Going forward, there are a couple of things we're working on हमारे card solutions के ऊपर, and you'll hear more in the coming days on that.
Thank you. I think that pretty much sums up the overall situation, how it was dealt with from your end, and a sort of a preview into a glimpse into how you plan on tackling such situation in the future, or rather minimizing the risk of such situations happening in the future. And if you're okay with it, shall we take some questions from the people who might be watching the show right now? I'm not sure how many viewers we have, but let's ask them if they have any questions for you that you might be in a better position to answer than me.
Sure.
So if anyone has any questions, please leave them in a comment here. We'll entertain questions for like the next, any questions that come within the next, let's say 5 minutes before wrapping it up. So you're more than welcome to ask whatever you'd like to ask, Mah-sin. Let's just give them a minute or two to send in any questions that they might have. We have a question by Kashif, and he's asking, is Payoneer considering an alternate company for issuing cards in the future?
Hello to Kashif first. Yes, Kashif, we are.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty
Crisp.
yeah, sweet, simple, straightforward answer. And so yeah, there you go, Asif. Sorry, Kashif, you have your answer. Let's see if we have any other questions. Adil is thanking you for this fruitful discussion. Uruj is showing her appreciation in form of some applause, and we have some comments, but no other questions. So, in case there are no further questions, I would like to thank you, Mohsin, for joining me and taking your time out to share your insights on the situation with our audience. And I wish Payoneer all the best going forward in any such situations. And I hope in the future we don't see such a situation. And I would also like to really appreciate your entire team, from you, from our among our local team. You and Priya were the ones really visible on the front end. You didn't hide. You didn't try to come up with corporate lingo excuses. And same goes for your CEO and your COO. The way your CEO took ownership and announced that even if they can't retrieve the funds in case of some issue, in case of regulators not releasing funds of Wirecard card services UK, they would. He showed the commitment to basically recompense users using Payoneer's own funds, and that says a lot. Even when according to your terms, you didn't have the legal liability to do so. But at the same time, Payoneer's very existence also depended on continuing the trust, on making sure the trust that it had established among its users wasn't broken. So if that were lost, it would have been catastrophic for everyone, not just the users. So, but at the same time, not every leader would have realized the importance of making such a statement, and I'm really glad they did at the right time, and that has sort of restored the trust in Payoneer among many of its users already. So kudos on that, and thank you very much for joining me here.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. मैं सिर्फ एक पार्टिंग कमेंट करूंगा इस पे. हमारा जो पेनियर का विजन है, उसकी वैसे तो काफ़ी उसके बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स हैं, but there are two building blocks which are really important. The first one is Payoneer always try to be a platform rather than just one product. And being a platform, we try to be with our customers in their whole journey. अगर फ्रीलांसर से कंपनी बिल्ड की है, अमेजोन सेलर पे गया है, कंपनी रजिस्टर करनी, ऑफिस पे से है. So this is a whole journey, and Payoneer strives to be there with our customers towards each step of this journey. And the second step and the second building block of Payoneer is the customer centricity. And I think हम लोग forums में और ये सारी जहाँ पर भी हम events करते हैं, हम इस चीज़ को बड़ा preach करते हैं कि we are a customer centric company. But I think this unfortunate incident that happened a few days ago, that really showed on a company level that we are customer centric, and our customers are everything for Payoneer. Because as you rightly pointed out, Arun, if there are no customers, there's no Payoneer.
Absolutely.
So customers are the very building block of Payoneer, and we truly recognize that, we truly realize that, and we are so thankful to all our customers, not just during these 3 days while they stood by us, but their continued trust, their support towards Payoneer. If Pakistan ki baat karen to in the last decade or an year or decade, the love they've shown, I think we are indebted. We have to return that. So thank you for having me, and thanks for all visiting now and maybe जो बाद में भी ये recorded देखेंगे. Thanks to all of you.
You're welcome. All right. Take care. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz.
All right. So that was Mah-sin from Payoneer, and this concludes the very first official broadcast of the HQ show. I've been meaning to launch this show for quite a while, and I did a test broadcast a little while back, but then getting busy with client projects and one thing or the other just kept me from it. But since this situation was something that warranted a deeper discussion than merely dropping comments on one post or the other. So I thought this might be a good chance to actually start my show. And once you like, starting is usually the toughest part. Once you start, then keeping up momentum is maybe not as difficult. But initially, that fear of, whether I have everything perfect, whether I have the sound set the right way, whether the lighting is correct. I need more overlays. I need more of a professional studio setup. So those things were keeping me from actually launching. And even right now, the studio setup isn't perfect. It's just sort of the best effort that I could do in a situation like this. So hopefully going forward, we'd be having one episode a week for the show, and I'd try my best to cover relevant happenings in the tech industry and industries adjacent to it, along with inviting key figures from the industry to share their insights with us. And at times there may be solo shows in which I am just talking about, covering stories and talking about my opinions and my overviews and my insights based on whatever little I've learned in the industry in my 20 years of working in it. So hopefully this is going to be a regular thing, and hopefully all of you would keep on tuning in and supporting us as we grow. And you can catch us on Facebook Live, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Periscope. And on all of them, you just need to go to /HQ Raja after their root URLs, and you'd land on the HQ show. So thank you very much again for tuning in. Take care till we meet again. Allah Hafiz. Goodbye.